What's up, everyone? Today, another quick little update on copper. I actually managed to find a place that is selling physical copper to ordinary people like you and me, which is not something easy to do because copper usually is a material and not an investable or tradable asset, other than derivatives and ETFs and stuff like that. So I found a very interesting platform, and I'm going to share that with you, and you can get some free copper if you join that platform. Other than that, I also have a few options for another couple of free stocks. So stay tuned if you want to find that out. Also, stay tuned for my free Discord. We'll talk a little bit about that as well. So let's just get into the video. All right, so here we are at the copper chart. CFD is on copper, and it says it in the price, like CFDs. It's not the physical asset if you manage to trade it or buy it somewhere. So you're either trading CFDs or ETFs. You're not actually owning the physical asset. Now, it's not necessarily needed, but sometimes derivatives do differ in the actual price of an asset. So it doesn't guarantee you the same return. And also, it can be quite volatile, or products that eat into your profits by having hidden costs like ETFs. So there's a case to be made to either own or trade both. So I also now own both. I purchased like 50 kilograms of copper today, which is an initial amount. Because if we look at the price chart, obviously we hit its all-time high. It did a little bit of a correction, and it does seem to be building a little bit sideways. And I think with the fundamental shortages that are expected, and even if they find new copper supplies, it takes apparently up to 10 or 20 years to have that copper in circulation. So it's safe to assume that in those 10 and 20 years, there's plenty of room for upside potential, especially with the massive demand of copper growing. And not just copper, for all basically rare earth minerals and metals, as the whole AI, but digitalization, EVs, here, battery technology and demand continue to increase. So it's very safe to assume that as the population keeps growing, as these products keep growing, as demand keeps growing, that with either the same or less available supply, with a rising demand, that basic supply and demand dictates that the prices are going to go up. And I mean, if we zoom out on a larger scale, that is exactly what's happening. So as opposed to February 2020, yes, February 2020, where it cost 3.9, we're now at a 5.9. So that's not a meteoric rise. But a similar case could have been made for silver and gold. But if we check the gold chart now, I mean, look what's been happening the last couple of years. It's been absolutely ballooning, and that's just from 2024. So call it a little bit hype driven, but I'm fairly certain that copper is going to increase in price regardless. And if we see another meteoric rise on copper as opposed to both gold and silver as well, and it's argumentatively a much easier asset to also push to higher prices, considering its market cap is just a lot smaller, so it's easier to move that. I think it's safe to assume that we're going to see an increase in price. So I have been buying copper basically from the end of last year on up until now, basically, and possibly I will add more, and probably it's going to be physical. So if we go to this platform, which is basically, let's grab the home page. I found this page, which is called Cooper for Copper, and this so far has been the only asset, the only place where I could buy as a retail investor physical copper. So basically, where you usually can buy physical gold and silver, and it's stored in a bank, and it gets your name, and you get a little certificate of ownership. That is all the exact same play as this. This platform has that exact same process, basically. So you can trade it. I wouldn't trade it here. because it's not really based on trading. It is based on buying, holding. It's not really if you want to day trade or something like this, personally, I would just trade the ETFs or CFDs on certain stockbrokers. And yeah, I could have, I do this as well, but I wanted to own physical copper as well. And as I said, I found this platform. I intend to do follow-up videos on this where I probably increase the holding that I have. And I recommend you read this, but basically what you do is you sign up, you make a KYC, you purchase an allocation, and it gets that professional storage, fully insured, regular audits, and zero storage bills. So it doesn't cost you to own it. And you get like a digital certificate of ownership, and you can basically sell it back once it reach that threshold. Or if you keep buying, you can take physical delivery eventually if you want that. So basically, you can paper exposure yourselves, own a share in the trust, not the metal, counterparty risk with the fund manager, hidden management fees, and price can diverge from physical reality. Now, that's something we don't want. So that is, I think, the most important one. And yeah, if you trade or buy with them, you can get direct legal ownership of your physical cathode. Medical exists in all LME approved vaults, no recurring monthly storage bills, and ability to take delivery. I have no intention of doing that, but you own the physical asset. So I do this with gold and silver as well. I buy both gold and silver as well, but I think it's pretty cool to have this. And as I said, current value is only 500 euros. I bought February 8th today, I bought 50 kilograms. So I bought my first 50 kilograms of copper today. And now I'm just going to wait and see what the price does. And I might buy a little bit more, or I might buy a lot, a bit more, depending on what the price does. But I'm fairly certain that copper is going to rise in price. So why would I not want to buy more? So yeah, this is just a little take. I wanted to do a little video I wanted to do about it. I think it's very cool that they offer the option to regular people like you and me to buy physical copper. Sorry. Because I have not seen that. I have not seen a lot of platforms that offer this. And or you get taxed. You have to pay a massive tax on it as well. And I've not had to do that here. So this avoids the tax system where you lose like 20% dependent on the country you're in. And you can get to hold the physical asset and the physical value of it. And I think it's likely to rise. So yeah, why wouldn't they? So if you want to use this platform like I did, I have a link to this. I will post it in the comment section down below. If you use that link, you get $10 worth of copper for free on your first purchase. And I think the minimum amount to purchase is 10 kilograms, which is like 160 dollars, and 110 euros, something like that. I'm not exactly sure on those numbers, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, you get a small $10 10 euro reward in copper. So feel free to use that. I will post that in the comment section down below. And with that, I also have a completely free Discord where I talk about stuff like this as well. I mentioned all of this earlier today. I mentioned a lot of information why I think both silver and copper will continue to go up in value. I talk a little bit about the market situations. People can ask me questions they'd like to know the answer to, and I'll answer as best I can. I did a live session last week, which I've also announced in here. And I did a live session with the Crypto School, which is a much bigger platform than just mine as well. And I posted the recording of that in here as well. If you want to watch that, it's still in there. You can watch it. And I was in there with several other different YouTubers who are all much bigger than me as well. Very cool guys, very knowledgeable about trading and investing. All different approaches from me as well, which I think is really cool. We're all trying to do the same thing in different ways, to each his own path. So yeah, feel free to check that out as well. once again, I also have access to some free stocks. So if you use my eToro link in the description, you can trade copper CFDs, copper stocks, obviously also gold and silver and regular stocks. And if you join through eToro, you can get up to $500 in stocks for free once you open your account and you deposit some funds into that. All right, I'm going to close out the video on this, and I just wanted to get this video out. Also, let me know what you think about copper. I'm genuinely interested in hearing you guys' opinion on it, because, yeah, I think copper is going to go up, but what do you all think? I think it's one of the, well, not the safest bets, but I think it's an educated gamble, let's call it that. But I think that is what investing is, taking a little bit of risk here and there to get a better return. All right, and I'm going to end on that note. See you on the next video, guys, and yeah, stay safe.